with the paper. And thank you, Brother Richard, for sitting down once again.
Was killed in a drone strike in Iraq at Baghdad airport a few days ago um, at the direction of President Trump. Since that time, we have had Mr. Soleimani is now, as of this date, is being buried, and we've had 3 days of mourning in Iran. We also had protests in about 90 different cities as well. So we wanted to, again, bring information, but mainly we wanted to bring a warning. And we wanted to bring that warning that is based on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the unparalleled guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we don't just say that in a patronizing way. We don't say it in a way as if we're trying to inflate him into something that he has done. But when a man can give you insight, when a man can give you foresight, then in the year 2020, you can have 2020 vision. So the minister since 1985 has been warning about this war that America had planned against Muslim nations, including Libya at that time, and a similar war against Islam domestically and a targeting of the Nation of Islam. Since that time, the minister has talked about a plan by the neocons under George W. Bush, his administration, to remake the Middle East and to um, foment political change and regime change in 6, I believe, Islamic countries, including Iran. So we have now, if we have listened, we have had the benefit of that warning. Now we are what most analysts believe we are seeing at this point America and Iran at the closest point of of possible war that we've seen in 20 years since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Why does this matter? It matters because with the killing of General Soleimani, the U.S. has now inflamed tensions in that region. It has also incited others in different countries who may not even be allied with Iran, but who may have enmity with the United States. So unfortunately, days after the killing of Mr. Soleimani, what we saw was the killing of a young black serviceman in Kenya by the group Al Shabaab, which is actually allied with Al Qaeda, which is not a friend of Iran. But at the end of the day, what many of these groups see is a shared interest or shared enmity with the United States of America. So here you had an already unstable situation in the Middle East, where the U.S. has been in Afghanistan for 18 years now. And this has really ratcheted up tensions. For example, now the Iraqi parliament passed a measure calling for America to leave the country. Um, Russia and China are involved in that they are supporters of Iran. So we want everybody to pay attention to this story, and we actually have 3 different stories, actually more than 3. We have really 4 different articles, if you will, covering this because it's that important. One of the things that we also saw was, again, a couple of days after the killing of Mr. Soleimani, there was a Saturday protest on, let me get the date right. What's today's date? Today's Tuesday. What was Saturday? Was it the 4th? We want to make sure we give you good information and don't mislead you.
Saturday before.
Saturday. So on Saturday, January 4th, major demonstration at the White House in about 90 cities around the country. And the organizers of these protests were really rather stunned because there was such a strong anti-war sentiment in the country, and people came out so early to show that there should be no more wars in Iran. Even some of the Democratic candidates, Democratic presidential candidates, have come out saying no war with Iran. So basically, Minister Farrakhan is warned that America will not win another war. And he has said to us that if we look in Scripture, in particular in the Bible, we are warned of the war of Armageddon, a final global conflict. And he has said numerous times, he said in Iran a couple of years ago, that this U.S. war with Iran, if it happens, can trigger this global war that will lead to the final destruction of America. So we got articles on pages 2 and 3 and 4. We got an editorial on page 16. But then what you really want to do is you want to read the article this week by the minister, Warning, Judgment, and Guidance for President Trump, which is distilled from a message he delivered over the summer at Mosque Mariam. But really, take a look at it, read it, and if you go to finalcall.com and just search Iran, you can get other information and news. But suffice it to say, at a time when there's so much need in this country, when there's such a concentration of wealth, and there's such a denial of benefits to people, Mr. Trump just cut thousands of people off of simple, basic welfare benefits. So in the midst of all of that, they have money for war, and as Tupac said, but you can't feed the poor. So this is a very serious time, and we wanted to bring attention to it. We wanted to put it in perspective. We wanted to give you coverage of the story from different angles. We wanted to show you in an editorial position why it was important. But the fundamental thing is offering you the guidance that Minister Farrakhan has provided regarding this really, really critical subject. We have to stay engaged and we have to stay informed. We just cannot be in a kind of la-la land where we're not paying attention to what's happening in the world.
Thank you very much, Brother Richard. Of course, mentioned the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's article, and of course, we should just be thankful that we're getting this perspective of the news in general. But what most people, and you're not going to find this a lot of places where you're getting guidance, divine guidance, and that not only looking at what's happening, but giving us insight on how we should see it, and being able to tell and being able to predict what's going to happen. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, as you mentioned, this message that's shared in the paper was delivered, you said, in the summer.
During the summer, yeah.
During the summer, but he was predicting and telling us, not only guiding us what could happen, but giving us guidance on what would allow us to avert this, or allow this government to avert it, but if they did not, what we should expect
the
coming forward.
I mean, and again, we have to understand this is a man with a spiritual message that is rooted in a very fundamental belief. And we can never take that part of the message, or we cannot ever take his message out of context. So this is not just a man who is one of the towering figures of the 20th and 21st century. This is not just a man who has over 60-year track record of serving black people. This is not just a man who convened one of the largest public gatherings in the history of America, and one of the largest public gatherings in the history of the world with the Million Man March in 1995. But we say this is a man who is like a modern Aaron to a modern Moses. In other words, this man is not just a leader, but this is a man who is more Actually, we would say he's even, with all due respect, he's even bigger than a prophetic figure because we're taught that this is not the day of prophets, but it's the day of God. So we need to understand that fundamentally, right? We believe this is the day of the rise of black people. We believe that black people fulfill the prophecy of Abraham's seed going into bondage and affliction in a land under strange people where they would serve these people would afflict them for 400 years, and after that time, God himself would come. So, and rescue that people. So we say that is not something for thousands of years ago. That is something that is happening right now that we need to be aware of. So we don't encourage you to take our word for it. We encourage you to listen, and then we encourage you to listen and compare what you read in Scripture, what you read in history, what you read in science to the things that Minister Farrakhan is saying. Because many of these things can be verified. Some cannot be verified because when God gives you guidance, he tells you things that others don't know, so that you will be able to read in the Word. But we are not just talking about something that is not real. So it's important that we understand the context in which the minister speaks, and that we examine this thing for ourselves, you know. So the other thing we have is an article from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the teacher of Minister Farrakhan, called The World. And again, it gives you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding about what is happening today on our planet. So again, we are not asking you to take anything at face value. Read it for yourself, research it for yourself, and look at the track record of these two men for yourself, and then you decide what you think is true or false.
Yes.
And may Allah bless you to make the right decision.
Praise to Allah. Thank you. And of course, we always want to encourage you, even though you read the paper, it's what a blessing and opportunity to read the whole book. And the same thing is with the article that we find in the centerfold of the paper. In many instances, that's not the entire lecture, but you have, in many instances, we have provided the information so you can order the lecture and hear the lecture, or even watch and hear the lecture. So always take the opportunity not to just read the paper, but you know, if you're a student and you desire to know more, we can't fit it in the whole paper. We can't fit everything in the paper, but we have the book Our Savior Has Arrived, which if you don't have it, you definitely want to get it. And it just really helps in light of what's going on, allowing you to see not only what's going on right now, but the world that you can expect to be coming soon.
And this article by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, The World, is taken from his book, Our Savior Has Arrived, which was first published in 1974. And even though it was published in 1974, it's still, which is over 40 years ago, it's still maybe 45 years ago now. No more, maybe 46 years ago. Though it was published 46 years ago, it still has a resonance of value today. That's one of the ways that you know you're dealing with divine guidance, because it becomes clearer and more important over time. Because over time you begin to see signs, you experience events as God allows things to happen and makes things happen that show that the man he selects is right. So Our Savior Has Arrived is the book. The minister's article, again, this is a distillation from a full lecture. And that lecture is The Man Jesus and How Not to Fall into Idolatry. And that was delivered on Sunday, July 21st, 2019. You can go to store.finalcall.com and get the whole lecture, because, again, this is part of it. But there are actually other aspects. But we wanted to pull out this particular part to hopefully have you look at what is happening right now and to see the correlation to what the minister said. But this is a very, very dangerous time. I think few people, and only those who really are just almost totally unaware, but even those that are unaware, don't like the prospects of war. So if they don't understand nothing else, they understand that killing somebody in another country is not good for America. So Black Twitter has exploded with all kinds of stuff. Believe it or not, many people talking about could this be the beginning of World War III or declaring World War III. So there's a level of information that's out there. And again, we need to avail ourselves of all the knowledge, the useful knowledge that we can get.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And of course, and everybody, as you said, that there's most people have a feeling that there's something going on, but to be in a situation where you have this feeling and not being able to explain it, isn't the best situation. And what we're blessed with is that what you're feeling and that fear that's there is that you're able to have a man in your midst that can explain where that's coming from and what that fear is coming from. So we're blessed with that. And I'm going to throw a plug in right here for Savior's Day 2020. It's definitely an event that you don't want to miss, because what always happens during Savior's Day is you can expect guidance as it's relevant, not just on what you need to do in the future. That guidance is provided as well, but it's providing you guidance on the day and time that we're living in right now and what you can expect. So don't miss us in Detroit, Michigan for Savior's Day, the weekend of February
21st.
The 21st, 2020, starting on that Thursday. So we don't want to just leave you with just bad or I won't say bad news, because it's all Allah's will and it's all happening in divine order for a purpose. But on a lighter note, is that we always want to see that even in the midst of this, is that the work of the resurrection of our people is still required, important, and we have to continue that work. So of course, we want to give a big shout out to Brother Abdul Malik. I didn't jack it up. Praise to on him, as well as the other brothers in the Nation of Islam from Chicago who helped to put on the hoop contest, and crowds definitely are live and in effect at Muhammad University of Islam. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, brother, the work of Brother Abdul Malik and the FOI and some of the members of the MDT,
yes, sir,
in bringing our people to Islam, and in particular to Mosque Maryam, has really been an incredible work. Brother used to be named Warren 2X, and a minister named Abdul Malik for his work. And it really wasn't a hoops contest. It was really an event aimed at young people and using different things to appeal to young people. So the fundamental theme of the day was shoot for 1,000, which is probably what our headline should have been. Shoot for 1,000, don't shoot your brother. And what that meant was we had young people brought to the mosque. They were treated to a great lecture. They were treated to martial arts exhibits. They were treated to a demonstration of military drill. And then, that was just in the mosque. Then they went from the mosque next door to the gym, where they had an opportunity to win $1,000 by taking a shot at a basket from half court. And one young man, a 14-year-old, made the shot and was given $1,000 in cash. But not only that, but even in the gym, there was additional entertainment. There was positive activity, as this Mosque Maryam is the national center for the retraining and the re-education of the black man and woman. So this was another creative way, another innovative way, another way to go after our people and to meet them where they are, as we try to, by Allah's grace, to move them where the God wants them to be. So I mean, it was a great day, and everybody really had a great time. We're really honored to be able to showcase this kind of work in the final call, and we really hope that it inspires people around the country to get involved, to tune in, to work to deliver our people, because at this time of darkness, those who have light are responsible for sharing the light that they have and for dispensing the knowledge that they have. And we as the FOI know that our mission is to deliver the 17 million to the Lamb of God, meaning that our mission is to go to our people who don't know the reality of the time, who believe that God is a mystery and who believe that the devil is a spook. So we have to acquaint them with the reality of God and the reality of the devil, no little red man in a suit, and bring them to the mosque so that they can get that information. So it was a great day. We got a great story by contributing editor James G. Muhammad, who's also a former Final Call editor-in-chief.
And before you move on to that, I just want to show people a little snapshot. You can see some of the pictures. You know, of course, they look much better when you have it for yourself, that you can look at it on your digital edition of the Final Call newspaper yourself. So you want to do that. And of course, as we always say, support the brothers in the community.
Yeah, so but it's great photos of our brother Harun Raja'i. So again, the beat and the work goes on, and we should all be involved.
Yes, sir. And you were about to share another article, I believe, that you were jumping to for.
Well, very important piece that we hope you'll read, and this is about a lawsuit that is charging Apple, Dell, and Tesla. Check this out, as well as a Chinese company, with exploiting the children of Africa, in particular in the Congo, where cobalt is one of the substances needed for your cell phone, where the greatest deposits are in Africa. So you have children, according to this lawsuit, that are dying, that are being injured, and they're involved in very serious mining operations. This is not like with some crane or you got a helmet, you got breathing apparatus, you got elevators. No, this is people digging down into the earth with very crude instruments, if any instruments at all. And of course, since the spaces are small and the people are poor, right? Children are the ones who are used to mine this cobalt and to try to earn a living for themselves and their families. But you got to really check the story out, because it says something again about the value of Africa in the 21st century, right? And the richness of Africa again being exploited by someone other than our people there and us. So again, great story. Check it out. We think you'll learn something.
Thank you. I want to send a shout out and thank you for those who are supporting us in Durham, North Carolina, those in Las Vegas, Nevada, those who are in Columbus, Georgia. Shout your city out. Let us know that you are listening and where you're at. And please, once again, like and share. Just want to go on. There's a lot of international news that's being discussed in this article outside of the most obvious events. And of course, there's always stuff that's going on locally as well. But there's an article dealing with just how wicked this enemy is and how, hundreds of accused clergy are left off of churches' sex abuse list. And, I know we're not going to get probably too much into it, but it's always interesting the attention that, of course, we don't condone the behavior of those who molest children in any shape, form, or fashion, or those who abuse women in any shape, form, or fashion. But the type of attention that happens when we're involved in that, or even accused of that type of behavior, is a lot different.
Well, it is. It is often different, but this story deals with the child sex abuse scandal of the Catholic Church, which is a global scandal. So this is an ongoing story. This is just kind of the latest, where there is a registry, or there should be a registry, of clergy members who are accused of sex abuse, but yet there they found that hundreds of clergy accused of these crimes are not on these lists. We know the Catholic Church has paid millions of dollars, not just in America, but in archdioceses and places literally all over the world, So it shows again that this propensity to cover up truth and false religion being used by those who would victimize people as opposed to offering them true salvation and liberation. So we should ask the question, who have we been under and should we be listening to them at all? So according to the story, nearly 400 priests and clergy who were accused of abuse while serving in their diocese have not yet released any names. So again, it is really tragic because when you look at it, or when you hear from the victims of this type of abuse, is really devastating. More than like most of them are children. Some have been abused, when they got a little older. But the immense power that these priests had over them and the way that they took advantage of it is really, really horrible. So we wanted to continue to shine light on this problem so that our people will know and the world will know that this kind of injustice and wrong really cannot stand.
Yes, sir.
Especially in this day when we say, the Holy Quran tells us that basically, though you have a secret that's inside a rock and buried in the earth, that this is the day when these evil and wicked deeds will be manifested and the truth will be made known. So it's that time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Of course, we got other people who are logged in who are from Warner Robins, Georgia. Never heard of that. San Antonio, Texas. Cleveland, Ohio is on the deck, as well as Dallas, Texas, and Phoenix is still represented. Thank you for your support, and please, once again, like and share. Brother Richard, there's a lot, but there's this one article that, of course, I haven't had a chance to go through the whole paper, but France says it carries out armed drone strikes in Mali. That definitely got my attention.
We continue to see the presence of European nations in Africa. And we are kind of used to America with these drone strikes, which they used to kill the brother from Iran in Iraq. But now France has also joined the club with these drone strikes. So in December, French President Emmanuel Macron announced that the French, using their weaponized Reaper drone, have now used these drones in Mali, which is in West Africa. So we see the Europeans steadily asserting their power in Africa, whether it's in the name of fighting terrorism, in the name of whatever the name is. But at the end of the day, it ends up being control of our people. So that's just one of the stories we got in a little roundup of African news. There even continue problems in Libya. And if you look in this week's paper, it's interesting that there's a story about European money, check this out, causing problems in Libya because essentially the money was supposed to help those who were fleeing and coming through Libya or near Libya, trying to cross the Mediterranean into Europe. The money was supposed to set them up in refugee centers and pay for services, and that hasn't happened. What has happened is people have taken the money, abused these people fleeing, often from the Middle East, often from parts of Africa, fleeing conflict, fleeing poverty, and there's been tremendous misery and even human trafficking. And this money is a part of that as people are bribed, and money is siphoned off and used for almost everything except what it was supposed to be used for. So again, we hope that you will continue to read the final call, and we hope that when you read the final call, you feel like you've got something out of your effort to acquire information.
And thank you for saying that, Brother Richard. And I'm going to say this, is that we know the final call is not perfect. And we're always looking for ways in which we can get your input so that we can make this paper even more better. It's the best we got. and we're always looking at ways to make the paper even better. So if you haven't been following us on social media, you've probably seen, or if you have been following us on social media, you've probably seen a lot more activity going on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram from the Final Call newspaper. And by Allah's grace and permission, we plan on continuing to even increase that more. And we'd love for you to, as you're sharing this, encourage other people to like, share the Final Call newspaper. Allow them to not only just share, but you know this is an independent newspaper. And what you will notice about the Final Call newspaper is, unlike many other papers, we don't have ads. We don't have outside ads. So we're looking for your support for this paper to continue. Is that we need you to support it. We need you to support it by buying the books that you see, the Final Call, from the Final Call store. So when you see Our Savior Has Arrived, when you see an article from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we know that sometimes there's other ways to get a hold of that information, but make sure that you support it so that we can continue the work that we're doing. And also, get a subscription of the paper. Let us know that you will not only read and listen to this show and listen to it if you got the digital edition of the paper, that you'll listen to the articles, but let us know that you really support it by making a commitment and having a subscription. Go ahead and take that year subscription out. Go ahead and get when you see the brothers in the community, go ahead and get 2 or 3 papers, from that brother, and so show that support for the only paper that I can think of or I know of is really unapologetically giving our people the truth.
Well, again, we always say support institutions that support you. This year marks the 40th year of publishing for the Final Call. Well, actually, last year did, 2019, marked our 40th year. But at Savior's Day 2020, we're going to have an incredible dinner, Final Call kind of celebration, 40th anniversary dinner, which will be that Friday, February 21st at the TCF Center in Detroit. And we want you to come on out. You can go to NOI.org right now and get your tickets. But it's going to be a fabulous event. This is our 40th anniversary. It only comes once. There won't be another one. So we hope that you will come on out and join us for really an evening of celebration as we look at what we have done and as we consider where we need to go in our mission to uplift, to inspire, and to bring light, life, and power to our people and oppressed people wherever they need us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to thank also Dutchess County in upstate New York, Miami and Mosque number 29, as well as the Hood Afternoon in Brooklyn representing. Thank you all for supporting. I'm going to go through a few things, and then I'm going to hand it back over to you. I'm going to ask first that any questions, and we'll look for those before we close out. But I want to share a little of the schedule for Savior's Day 2020 for those who may not be aware. Of course, the Savior's Day festivities actually will begin on Thursday, that's February 20th, at 8 p.m. Elevated Places radio show. For those who may not be aware, Student Minister Ava actually has a radio show that you can listen not only during Savior's Day, but you can listen to it throughout the year, and that's on Blog Talk Radio, so you can get more information about that. But it's a very special event that you actually get to see her and some of the crew that helps to make that show a reality live and in person. So take that opportunity during Savior's Day, and that will be, Allah willing, at 8 o'clock. On Friday, that Friday, which is February 21st, programming, we're looking at, and some of these times may change a little bit, but right now we're looking at starting and opening up at 9 o'clock a.m. on Friday for a welcome to your Savior's Day 2020. And then the first group of workshops dealing with the Muslim program, which the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan requested that the workshops actually focus on the Muslim program, which you can find right there in the inside of the last page of the paper. But those are from 9:30 to 11:30. We'll take a little break and then jump into our Juma prayer, which is a community prayer. All the leaders have an opportunity to recognize the one true God. And coming back from that, you got a little time to move to the next section of workshops dealing once again with the Muslim program, and those will be from, Allah willing, from 2 to 4. And then the celebration, the 40th anniversary of the celebration banquet of the Final Call newspaper, which will begin at 7 o'clock. So, but don't get there at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly what time the doors open.
Right now, we're planning the doors will open at 6 p.m.
Right. So we're not gonna, we should even just erase that. The program starts. You get to the dinner and the banquet at 6 o'clock.
Well, I would say again, this is inshallah going to be a pretty big affair. So I would say get there at 6. You have the opportunity to be seated. You have the opportunity to relax. You have the opportunity to socialize. Because inshallah, we will begin the program promptly at 7 because we have a tremendous number of awards and recognitions that we want to do. And we're praying and hoping that our dear minister will deliver an incredible message that evening, and do better to put the Final Call in perspective and give us marching orders than the man who originated the idea, who founded the paper based on an idea he was given from the Honorable Elijah as part of his rebuilding. So he mortgaged his home. The paper initially was operated out of his home. He wrote the entire first edition himself, and he is involved pretty much every week with the paper. So we thank Allah for his guidance, for his sacrifice, for his work. And you can never talk about or celebrate the Final Call without celebrating the man who gave this important institution, who has literally helped maintain it, who has been the life for it. And he wants us to recognize those who have worked in this endeavor to build this institution, which is an award-winning black publication. We say we're a respected publication. We still need to expand our reach. We still need to touch more lives. But we thank Allah for the success that we have been able to enjoy at this time, and we're looking forward to more, you know. So, but it's about building. We want young people to get involved. We have some young people involved. We want others to get involved. Young journalists, come on, step forward and exercise your craft and help take us into the future. So, again, come on out on February 20th, right? That's the Thursday evening for Sister Ava's radio show, which you don't want to miss. Then the next night, February 21st, is the dinner. And then, of course, the other events will follow.
Yes, so that got us to Friday. And of course, Friday evening is the banquet. Then on Saturday, we're starting, there's some other activities for those who are registered and active citizens of the Nation of Islam. But what's open to the public, and some people don't know this, is that we are having a drill competition that evening at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and to take the opportunity to see the Muslim followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan do what we call the exercise of the gods. And that is our beautiful drill exhibition and drill competition. But in addition to that, we also, earlier during that day, there is going to be a very big event. It's a town hall meeting. Should black people consider separation, which we already know with all that we've said and all that we've read and all that's going on in the world, we don't need to consider separation. We need to start working to move towards it. And also with that said is that soon Minister Ava actually will be, Allah willing, in D.C. For those who are in D.C., look up and find Mosque number 4, and she will be actually at a town hall meeting this Saturday. You want to join that? It's in all of these events, all the town hall meetings have been free, and so you want to take an opportunity to hear what people are saying and hear what the next steps, so you can get instructions and become a part of that. And then, of course, the crowning event of Black History Month is on Sunday, the keynote address of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We don't have a title or subject yet, but we can guarantee you that it will be divine guidance and instructions as it relates to what's going on for the black man and woman in America and across the world. And that address begins at 2 o'clock. You can get your ticket now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait. And I can see you got something else for us, Brother Richard.
Well, I just wanted to say, of course, that what we have, one of the major events of Savior's Day is the annual Children's Village sponsored by Mother Khadija Farrakhan. We'll have the Children's Village again. You can go to www.childrensvillageonline.org. That's childrensvillageonline.org. And go there and find out what's happening. I mean, it's always something different. It's always something new. And I don't know what year this is for the Children's Village, but this is something sponsored by Minister Farrakhan's wife and one of the mothers of our nation of Islam, who has a great heart and great empathy and great love. And so now we have inculcated into Savior's Day something special for our children, so they can enjoy games, and they can enjoy activities, and they can enjoy prizes, and they can enjoy the things that will make the Savior's Day experience memorable for them as we plant the seeds of nationhoods, inshallah, deep into their minds and souls. So, Children's Village 2020. You're going to go online, www.childrensvillageonline.org. Go there, support, and stay tuned for more information, because as we get more information, we will share.
Thank you, Brother Richard. I want to thank all those who support and are always online with us. And as soon as we pop up on there, they're finding their way to get there and support and participate in whatever way they can. So if you don't have anything else, I want to thank you once again.
Well, we got 7350 South Stony Island Avenue, the foodie spot. We're here again, when you talk about institutions and black businesses, here's one right in the heart of South Shore, literally across the street from Mosque Mariam. Great food, great people, great spirit. You're always welcome here, so come on in, spend some money, get some good food, and get a glimpse of what we can do when we come together with the knowledge of who we are and decide that we need to do something for ourselves, you know.
Thank you once again, Brother Richard. Of course, the digital edition of the Final Call, that's the ad that he was referring to with Mother Khadija Farrakhan. And you can just see how I can just scroll through that, make a quick plug on how you can just scroll. And if you get a little lazy sometimes, you can click on the article and have it read to you, all sorts of stuff like that. So until next time, Behind the Final Call cover story, Assalamu alaikum, peace.